as a Sundowns fan, you have to start asking yourself a question of how long are you going to live on this side of the fence? Where last season, 80th minute, it came in Pelile, 3-0, 2-0. You're relaxed. You're like, sweetie, let's grand. Now your games are going to the 92nd minute. You have Pladila.
Great run. He pulls it back. Rasmus Højlund. Thunderous. It's an absolute net buster.
And now on to our second game. Still in the CAF Champions League. We have Mamelodi Sundowns who will be hosting AS FAR Rabat. Both these teams have qualified, but they're still bragging rights to play for.
Yeah.
Who finishes on top?
I want to understand when you say head-to-head. Because now you're saying Sundowns is qualified, right? When I'm looking at the table, FAR Rabat has 9 points. Mamelodi Sundowns has 8 points. The team below them, Raja Casablanca, has 5 points. If Raja gets 3 points, it's 6, 7, 8.
Correct.
There's the same amount of points that Sundowns has. Right?
Correct.
Goal difference is then +1 for Sundowns, -2 for Raja. So if Raja goes and blows Miami out of the water 10-0, my question is, do they qualify
So
ahead of Sundowns?
No. I mean, if you're gonna put it that way, but I think that's a bit realistic. Personally, I wouldn't expect a bomb to say you would say Sundowns didn't qualify because they went on. But Raja Casablanca went on to win by 10 goals to 0. Do you see that happening? Miracles years do happen. Do you see that happening?
But
So I guess if we're gonna put it that way, I'm wrong, and I do apologize to say Sundowns has qualified.
But I'm just asking if the rules are head-to-head first.
Rules are head-to-head. And remember, to remind our viewers, head-to-head, 1-0 win, 1-0 win.
But it says a number of matches played, goal difference, and then goals scored in matches, teams in question. So isn't that the head-to-head is the third thing they look at?
Head-to-head is the first thing.
Okay, we'll find out.
No, head-to-head
Because
is
I
the
don't
first
want Sundowns fans to tune in and watch this and then tell their friends the whole weekend what I just grand since we leave it. And then
a reminder of that. Remember, Kumule Bafana Bafana. Sharma celebration, which we have qualified. Only to find out that, hey, they're looking at the wrong formula. So I guess to cut things, to make things simple,
the story short,
Sundowns must win.
Sundowns must win.
At least a draw.
At least a draw
To
survive.
Because you can imagine the Raja Casablanca and FAR Rabat are from the same country, Morocco. So they probably give them a call, hey, Bafo. Beat those guys for us, trash those guys for us. We'll also do our bit here.
I mean,
in my name.
Is it not also okay? When you put it like that, then what you're saying is that Raja and FAR Rabat colluded to say, "I'm not throw now, and then let's see what happens with Sundowns." And
I'm not saying that would happen, but I'm asking you if your brother has fallen, don't you like?
Because they drew. FAR Rabat.
Yeah, they drew.
They drew 1-1.
That was the previous game.
So
now, let's say ironically, FAR Rabat thrashes Sundowns. I'm going to call my 10-0.
Yeah.
FAR Rabat thrashes Sundowns 10-0. Raja goes and thrashes my name 10-0. Now we're talking a different story.
To be honest, it doesn't even need to be 10-0. FAR Rabat just needs to score 2 goals. It'll put Sundowns on a -1. And then all that Raja has to do is score 2 goals. It'll put them on 0 goal difference. And they through.
So yes, as much as the last games, these games, both teams need to take them seriously.
Yet again, you're asking them for a lot. You're asking FAR Rabat to chow Sundowns 2-0. The question is, can they do it?
We go to head-to-head. The first game they met in Morocco. They drew 1-1. That was a good result. Personally, I said it was a good result for the Sundowns getting a point there in Morocco.
While they had a red card. While Sundowns had a red card. So my thing is, my heart is telling me that Sundowns is going to win this. But my mind is saying, nah. The same thing that happened with the previous game. I knew that, okay, my name is not gonna beat Sundowns outright. That's what I thought. When I was doing my prediction last week, I was like, there's no way my name will beat Sundowns outright. But I knew that my name was not going to go down without a fight. Because you look at the group standings, they also look at it mathematically. Still possible. They have nothing to lose. If they play their best football, they can manage to win this game. But the problem is that now you look at a team like Mihle, and the biggest mistake from the last game that they played against Sundowns, which I thought would be a draw, is that they couldn't manage the game. I mean, they go into halftime 1-0 up. They come out of halftime, Sundowns gets a goal back.
And late, I think it was 70 what?
Exactly.
No, 83rd minutes even.
Exactly. Now, 10 minutes later, boom, second goal, own goal. Yes, Peter Shalulile had his influence. Right?
No, it's own goal.
Yeah, but okay, it's registered as an own goal.
Ah, you should really got a charge.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
But
Please,
if you look at it, if they were able to manage the game well, if they were able to manage, I mean, at this point, if I was the coach, I would have treated the game like a final. I would have said, guys, when we get to ball after 80th minute, we just go to the corner now. Just put the ball there by the corner and relax. Bagmake, Tole foul, Tole yellow card, it's fine. You understand? I know that's a dirty tactic, but at the end of the day, you have to think about what's at stake here. What's at stake is that you're about to take Sundowns, out of the tournament. You're about to put yourself in a position where you can still fight it out on the last day. But now where they're sitting now, it's almost impossible. They're not going to make it.
You look at Sundowns. Shouldn't we give Sundowns credit? Don't you think it was a well orchestrated plan? Don't you think they did it on purpose? You look at the experience of Shalulile. Sit him on the bench. For a long time, we've been wondering why is Shalulile on the bench. He comes in when it matters. He scores the brace. Don't you think it was planned? Don't you think that was the plan all along to say, let's take Mihle, let's let them play for the longest time, but the name will hit them the most where it counts, just before the end of the game?
I think also from that perspective, there was a plan. I don't think the plan was let's concede a goal. You understand? The reality is that Sundowns plays a very controlled brand of football. They don't gamble as much. They don't play on the counter. They don't play long ball football. Most of their moves are calculated anyway. So you could say there was a plan at hand. You could say the plan didn't go according to plan. Hence the plan had to be changed. Instead, and bring in a Peter Shalulile, because things like that, you can't say that a player like Peter Shalulile, right, is not going to be important, especially in a game like this. You need a player like that. You need someone who can come in and make an impact. The world of football has changed in such a way that Sawanyat ama impact sub, because we look at a player, we still look at the bench. Let me put it like this: we still look at the bench like we used to do Eskela. You come to Mozali Paula on 12, 13, 14.
The best
bench
starts first.
Bench big udla mfethu. Mawusele bench in mufila ngathi ucoach akangifeel yo. But this professional football is a different conversation. You need to have players like that on the bench. Your bench, if arguably in modern day football, your bench has to be stronger than your starting 11. You understand? Because those are guys you need to come in and make a quick impact. So at the end of the day, I think bench is not a reflection to say, we're gonna put this guy aside. Mark Newer will bring him on. If it's okay, we don't bring him on. I think the plan was always to say we'll bring Shalulile on to change our point of attack, because Shalulile, obviously, when you have a Reyners and you have a thingy, when you put a Shalulile on, it changes the way the team attacks, right? Because it's not going to be the same outlet of player. You understand? Where you had someone who was fast and running, now you have someone who's a pointsman. All you need to do is drop the ball in front of him, net. And we all know Shalulile is a finisher.
You look at how the goals came about. You look at the style of play Sundowns, or the chances they created before Shalulile came in. It was different compared to Shalulile. You look at Shalulile's both goals are very identical. So you could tell they know his strengths. They know how Shalulile is actually gonna get those goals. And they knew if they had that brand of play, the striker that was there at the time was not gonna be able to capitalize.
I mean, you look at it from this perspective. If you look at how they build up when Shalulile is not there, they wanna build up early and get the ball in behind the defense, so that a player like Reyners can run into that ball, right? When Shalulile is now on board, they're gonna play a different brand of football. They wanna try and push the opponent into the box, so that they can just drop it to Shalulile and you can finish. But at the end of the day, like I'm saying, the coach had to experiment with different things. He had to find a way to make it work. And obviously with all the pressure that's being applied to him at this moment, because he's not sitting top of his group, qualification is looking shaky. So obviously they needed a result. And I won't lie, when I saw it at 1-0, when I saw it at 1-1, I think it was 1-1 until past the 90th minute.
Yeah, sure.
I won't even lie. I left. I was like, it is what it is. I left and I came back, it was 2-1. I was like, okay, fine. But the reality is that as a Sundowns fan, you have to start asking yourself a question of how long are you going to live on this side of the fence, where last season, 80th minute, it came in Pelile, 3-0, 2-0. You're relaxed. You're like, sweetie, let's grand. Now your games are going to the 92nd minute. You had Bladila. You must ask yourself, is that a good reflection on where your team is right now? Or is that going to be coming back to bite you in the knockout stages? Because even if you make it through, you can't do the same thing against Al-Ahly. Because as soon as Al-Ahly has a lead, they're not going to give it back. They're going to make sure it's an Itoli ball. And you need the ball to score. So, same thing with Pirates. If you play Pirates and you go 1-0 down, they're not going to give you the ball to score and equalize. They want to keep the ball. They're going to play their football on the carpet. They're going to take their time. They're going to frustrate you. By the time you're creating chances, they're not clear-cut chances. So, yes, against Mainema, a lesser opponent, it did work that they managed to, bring out some brilliance by changing the style of play, the focal point, and they managed to score the goal. But how long is Sundowns willing to live on edge is the question they need to answer.
I'm hearing you guys saying, most analysts, even the viewers, most people, let me put it in general, they'll be like, Guma group stage, teams don't go all out. They just want to qualify for the knockout stages. That's where we actually see the real football. You look at the style of play, the results that we've seen in the group stages. Do we expect anything different? Or do we say, Lama team Laba Shisa group stage? As a Shisa times 2, Guma knockouts.
Like I said, there's a month between group stages and knockouts. So obviously the team is going to come back different. The needs are different when you come back in May. Or when you build up towards May. Number one, you have to take into account, are you still challenging for your league title or not? Are you still challenging for local cups or not? What if now they go, Al-Ahly gets knocked out of their local cups, they end up mathematically having to chase the league with a 10-point difference. They're going to come back and take this trophy seriously. You understand? To a point, I remember, I'll just go back to the story of Antonio Conte where he had Lukaku. And the previous season he had challenged for the Champions League and they lost it, right? The next season, Inter got knocked out of the Champions League in the group stages. They finished 4th. And I remember Manchester United finishing 3rd and going to the Europa League. In that season, after that game, he said, now we must take every league game as a final. That was when Inter broke that 8-9 year spell, yet Juventus, of winning the league. So you have to look at it because priorities change as the landscape of what trophies you can win change. So if you look at it now, Sundowns is not going to accept a PSL trophy. They're not going to accept Nedbank Cup. They're not going to accept any of these cups to say, no, we didn't win the Champions League, but we won this. In fact, last season, they didn't even accept the AFL. They want each Champions League. So for Sundowns at the moment, it's all out in this competition. So you're facing them now in the group stages. They've made some mistakes. Like I said, the foundation that was laid for them is not solid. So they have to still put in a lot of work at this point in the season. You might see them sacrificing or not doing as much in the PSL as they did last season. I mean, last season in the PSL, they set on like 6 goals conceded for half the season in a league. So now you look at this season, the focus will be the CAF Champions League. And number 2, they'll make sacrifices for the CAF Champions League. They might bench their best players in the league to make sure that those players don't get injured so they can play in this tournament. So it changes the landscape. That's why when people look at it as a season of 2 halves, it's a season of 2 halves for that very reason. With previous tournaments, maybe you could say, they had the best team in South Africa. But Pirates has now, upgraded. You understand? Stellenbosch is somewhere in an upgrade. Kaizer Chiefs is fighting to get back into the conversation. No, they're fighting to get back. Abu Amazul, the league is improving. The players, the resources, the teams. There's a new sponsor that's bringing a lot more money. So a lot of things are changing in the local landscape. If you want to go win the CAF Champions League, you understand, you do need a stronger league. But as a coach right now, if I'm coaching Mamelodi Sundowns, my focus is a tournament. I'm worried about how I'm going to beat Rabat. That's all I care about. So I think from that perspective, it's a season of 2 halves for that reason. Not that teams take the second half of the season seriously. It's just a matter of what are the needs of the team at that moment. You understand? Can we win this tournament, yes or no? Do we have other trophies to distract us? You understand? And it's happened. I want to give you an example of where focusing on all the trophies has backfired. There was a season I think...
Mention your Liverpool.
I'm going to mention it now. Jurgen Klopp
still a chance to win 4 trophies. Ended up winning how many?
Remember there was a season when Jurgen Klopp played, I think, 65 games with his team. And by the end of that season, everyone was injured. You understand? That is the ugly side of it. To say, if you had picked your trophies, you understand? If you're not trying to beat City in the Carabao Cup, then beat them in the FA Cup, then the Premier League, then show up to the Champions League final and win that, you understand? You could have said, okay, gents, we go to the Carabao Cup final with the kids. Let the kids play it. You understand? Instead of swapping out that team and putting in your best players, going in and winning the trophy, fine, you won it. Then go to the FA Cup and say, hey, kids, one side again, best team. Those guys get injured. So to try and win everything is not going to work. If Sundowns just buckle up and say, but Sundowns fans, if they just say, you know what, we forgive PSL not being won, we forgive the trophies, all we want is CAF. Then the coach can then also put his best players in the CAF Champions League, give it his best chance. If he loses it, he can say, I lost it, you saw. But right now, that's why it's a season of two halves. He has to give up one.
You also look at the Champions League itself. I mean, group stages and knockout stages.
Yeah.
Those are two completely different stages.
It's because the formats are not the same.
You look at, I'm worried a bit about momentum. The teams that are doing so well right now. This month's break, before we continue to the knockout stages, we might see a team that was hot in the group stages fumble.
Yeah. But like I said, a lot of things will happen between then and now. Injuries, you understand? Like I said, what trophies are they still playing for at that time? Because don't forget, at that time, this time of the footballing calendar, everything is wafa wafa. It's knockout football. You play cup matches now, it's knockout football. You play the CAF Champions League, it's not group stages, it's knockout football. So the game, the way you approach games is different because every game, if you lose, you out. So obviously you're gonna play differently. But like I said, if you prioritize the Champions League, then you can know it's fine if I get knocked out there. It's fine if I drop points against Amazulu. You understand? You have to focus on one thing. But if they try to focus on everything, it's going to be a problem.
We go to this game. This game we're talking about if Rabat and Mamelodi Sundowns. If Rabat has qualified, that is confirmed.
Yeah.
They've qualified. They coming to South Africa. Do you see them going all out or do you see them resting players? I mean, we know with Sundowns, they need at least a point from this game to confirm their qualification. If Rabat, on the other hand, they've qualified. Do you see them going all out, or for them it's just?
I think Rabat are prioritizing the Champions League. You have to look at the country they come from. Obviously, Wydad Casablanca, big name. Raja Casablanca, also a big name. But you look at the two teams that are in the CAF Champions League from that country, which is Raja and Rabat. Both those teams don't sit in the top three of the domestic league. Rabat is sitting fourth. They're 9 points behind log leaders, Pekan, and then you look at Raja Casablanca, they're sitting a whole 23 points. So they have 23 points. They're sitting, I don't even want to calculate because my math is not that good, but they're sitting all the way down in 8th position in the league, sitting on 16 games played. So at the end of the day, you have to think about it from that perspective to say they're also making sacrifices to make sure that they're able to play this competition. So obviously, it's the same conversation that we're having about the Sundowns. They can go and choose to say, let's rest players, let's go focus on the league and make sure we catch up. Or what they can then do is, say, you know what, let's just play this game all out, top our group, so we know that we're safe. We'll play a lesser side in the next stages, or luckily, if a luckily doesn't finish second. You understand? So, if Pirates finishes second, it's also a problem. But the reality is that they will also consider that as a big factor to say, domestically, do we need to catch up? Do we need to play and beat everyone? Do we need to invest all our resources there? Or they might just choose to go in and give Sundowns a tough time. Because don't forget, if they win this game, they stand a chance of eliminating one of the biggest threats for the title.
Exactly.
So they can't rest. Because if they rest, then they're saying Sundowns must continue. Which is
the chances are which they might meet later on.
Exactly.
If both of them qualify, they might meet later on. Maybe
exactly.
the same.
So for them, it's a bigger thing. Eliminate one of the biggest threats now, so you don't have to deal with them later. But if you don't eliminate them, I mean, if you do eliminate them, you still have Raja. They probably think that they're better than Raja as a familiar opponent.
Yeah, so I guess these are exciting games.
These are very exciting games, and I think from a Sundowns perspective, they saved it by winning last time out. Now the question is, can they win again? Because their backs are still against the wall. Because we're not even sure what the rules are. I'm sure of my rules. Goal difference.
All right.
Head to head last.
Head to head. Now it's a pity head to head and it's 1-0, so it's the same. No, but at the end of the day, it boils down to this game. If Sundowns, they know what to do.
Sundowns know what to do.
Sundowns has never been a team to rely on other teams' results. They do everything themselves.
That's true.
So they know it's at least a draw. They need to get a draw. But forget a draw. They must get all 3 points to prove, actually, for the team to see where they're actually sitting. You speak of Sundowns getting late goals. We speak of Sundowns putting in the likes of Shalile late in the game to change the game. How do you think Sundowns approaches this game?
I think they'll approach it with a lot of respect. I mean, they know the quality of the opponent they're facing, but I think they'll throw everything they have at it. They can't afford to go easy. They can't afford to sit. No, let's see what's happening. It is not that kind of game. They either win it or they're out.
So do you see Shalule starting this game?
I don't think Shalule starts. I think the coach will stick to the same formula he followed the last time. Players like Shalulile, I mean, how can I put this? Players like Shalulile are deadly. They don't need 90 minutes. Instead, like there's players in football that don't need 90 minutes to affect the game. You understand? There's players that in football, they're specialists over 30 minutes. You put that guy on for 30 minutes, you're going to get a result. So, like I said, super subs are not respected anymore in football. And Shalulile did his time. I mean, he played, he's proven to us he's a finisher. He's not going to go there and dribble people for 90 minutes. Once you get the ball to Shalulile, it's going straight to the net, the bar, or it's going over. You understand? So, for that, I think the coach won't waste his talents trying to play him over 90 minutes. It's not that the plan will be to exhaust Shalulile. It'll be like, let me ask you this. Is Shalulile going to be playing better with fresh defenders or against exhausted defenders?
Against exhausted defenders.
Exactly. So use him when he's best. So just chill, play the same system, let, these guys tire out the players. I mean, you've seen Pep do it all the time. Pep will go in and play uThisha, from the start for a whole 70 minutes. When you're tired, then he puts in Grealish. And Grealish is just going to cut in and shoot the whole time. So you dial direct when it's time to dial direct. When you know that everyone's tired, they're not going to be focusing. They've been dancing all day with uThisha. Now he's tired. Now you're like, okay, Toku, come sit down, go dial direct. And that's how you get goals. You understand? So I think he will go for that and say, I'll need a focal point when a focal point is needed. But for now, I'll play football. I'll let the ball go around. I'll play the mental game. I'll play the long game. Then when it's time to, time's running out, I'll play the direct game.
Now, I see Valimo. You head on the block. Who's taking the 3 points?
The 3 points going to Sundowns. I'll follow my card with this one. I think Sundowns is going to win this game 3-0. I don't know why I went to 3-0, but I think Sundowns will win it 3-0. I know I spoke all that nonsense.
Guys, you had Mo. After all that nonsense he spoke, you said nonsense. After all that speech, Mo just delivered. He goes and says Sundowns will win the game.
Yeah,
no, but I think, Sundowns will win the game.
Yeah.
I think if Sundowns goes on to win the Champions League, we forget what they lost against Imakes.
No, we won't.
Yeah?
No, we won't.
We forget.
I saw a video of a 12-year-old boy who knows Magesi's name because of that game. And you know what he was talking about? Another big team that I can't mention because people always say bring the team.
But guys, you heard more.
Wait, you haven't done a prediction recap.
Man, you had more.
What about the past game?
More. He told you his thoughts. Do you disagree or don't you disagree? What more has to say? But before Siva, let's do a prediction a recap. In our first game, we had the Al Ahly who will host Orlando Pirates. You went for?
Al Ahly win.
You said Al Ahly win.
I stick to that, yeah.
And then in our second and final game...
But just to be safe, double chance, because last time I said draw and then it didn't work out. So Al Ahly double chance.
So Al Ahly win draw?
Yeah.
BTS? No BTS?
Nah, I don't want to enter that one. But I think both teams will score.
All right. So you think both teams will score, but you don't enter it.
Okay, I'll enter it. Both teams will score.
All right. Buffet to most prediction. He says Al Ahly win or draw, both teams to score. And then our second and final game is Sundowns playing AS Rabat. You said Sundowns is going to win by 3-0. You're sticking to that?
I'm sticking to that.
You heard more, guys. He's saying Sundowns is going to beat AS Rabat by 3-0. And if that happens, that means Al Ahly tops the group, Sundowns tops the group. That means Sundowns might play Orlando Pirates in the quarterfinals. Can't wait for the quarterfinals. Guys, you heard more. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video. And if you haven't subscribed, click on that subscription button.